All right, you've been hearing all the hype around Denver, the mountains, the sunshine, the breweries on every corner. Well, let's face it, Denver ain't perfect. And today I'm gonna give you the 10 reasons you're not gonna wanna move here. And this video isn't meant to scare you off. I mean, this is a real estate channel for helping people that relocate to Denver, but it's better to go in with your eyes wide open than to get here and realize, this place kind of sucks. Let's go. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host for Everything Denver, Colorado, where we talk about all things Denver real estate, including the best places to live. If you're thinking of a move here, don't be afraid to hit me up. Call, text, or email. I got your back on all things Denver real estate. As much as I love these videos, I really love helping people find their forever home here in the Denver metro. But after this video, my channel will probably crash and burn and no one will be moving here. So give it a like and a subscribe before the end. Thank you. All right, reason number one you might not want to move to Denver is the traffic. The congestion, it sucks. It's gotten pretty bad. But let me kind of go into this a little bit more in depth. Denver for a long time was one of the best kept secrets in the US. Kind of isolated in the middle of the country. It took a long time if you wanted to drive here from another major city, Kansas City, even Salt Lake City, or anywhere on the West Coast. Denver was kind of isolated until air travel became a regular routine thing for people to do. So now that it is so convenient for people to jump on a plane and get to the West Coast in 2 hours or get to the East Coast in 2.5 to 3 hours, Denver's become a lot more popular, and the secret's out that we do have a lot of great things here, which has resulted in a lot of people moving here. A lot of people from California, Texas, the Northwest, kind of all over the country. We've had people moving here, which has resulted in a lot of traffic and congestion. Now, some pockets are definitely worse than others. If you're traveling down I-25 during rush hour, yes, you can expect to sit in traffic. The downtown interior areas of Denver are some of the worst for traffic, but if you live out in the suburbs, maybe you commute from Lone Tree to the Denver Tech Center, traffic's really not that bad overall, so take that with a grain of salt. Now, where traffic does get really congested and is a pain in the butt is traveling up to the high country or the ski resorts, be it Aspen or Vail or Beaver Creek or somewhere up in the western slopes. It can be a hassle to get up there on a weekend. If you're leaving on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday morning, you can expect to sit in traffic a long time. That's why a lot of the locals, if they're able to, will go up during the week to avoid some of those crowds and the congestion on I-70. It is a 2 to 3 lane highway through the mountains, and that's just not enough for the amount of people that are traveling up there. And given that these are mountain roads, it's kind of hard to expand in those areas. So I don't see that part getting better. So if you can avoid it on the weekends, definitely want to do that. Reason number two, cost of living has gone up a lot here in the Denver metro area. Like I said, similar to before it became this hidden gem that was discovered and everyone and their mom started moving here, home prices in Denver were relatively affordable, in line with the median home price or slightly below that, but now we're about 28% higher than the median home price across the country. That's not to say that we are San Francisco or Washington, D.C. We still are a good value compared to some of the most expensive markets across the U.S., but housing has gotten a lot more expensive, with the median home price being right around $600,000 for most suburbs in and around Denver. So if you're thinking of moving here, make sure that your job is going to support that increased cost of living. Reason number three, the weather is weird. Now, we do have a lot of sunshine days. We do have a pretty mild climate throughout the winter. Weather definitely gets weird, and you can experience all 4 seasons in one day. You'll wake up and it'll be cold, it'll feel like winter, and by 10, 11 o'clock, the sun's out. It's a nice spring day, 70 degrees. And then as soon as the sun goes down, it's cold again, or you have a hailstorm that rolls in the afternoon and dumps some hail in your front yard, and obviously cause some damage to your roof or your vehicles if they're outside. So Denver definitely is pretty bipolar. Springtime is definitely the worst, where we get the most drastic temperature swings. Overall, it's pretty nice, but if you can't deal with some of the bizarre spring weather that we have, Colorado might not be the right place for you. Reason number 4, and this is a big one and causes a lot of controversy, but central North Denver and Aurora areas are dealing with a lot of homeless problems, and they haven't really done much to address it other than saying it's cool to camp in the city streets, which nobody wants. And this has also resulted in higher crime rates in these particular areas, and sadly the city isn't really doing a whole lot to address it or to fix it. They're just kind of accepting that it's a problem and that there's no great solution other than throwing money and starting committees. Saving grace of Colorado is a lot of the other suburban areas that have actually done a really good job of addressing homelessness, partnering with other community activists and things that are doing programs to help the homeless and to get them off the street and to get them proper employment and housing and things like that. But sadly, not everyone wants to help, and sadly Denver just allows it to continue. Okay, reason number 5, air quality can be kind of hit or miss. Now, I've lived here my whole life and haven't noticed a huge difference. I do notice on some days air quality might be worse if it's wildfire season and if we're getting, inundated with smoke that's coming in from either the Rocky Mountains or even sometimes in Canada or Montana if they're having, wildfire problems up there and that smoke and that haze comes over, or places from the West Coast where the California wildfires were happening. Sometimes through the jet stream, that can settle on Denver and reduce our air quality quite a bit. So if there is advisories, it's probably best to do any physical activity that you have, working out indoors. But it can be a problem during the summer, especially sometimes. So there's other days when it's beautiful and clear and you have crisp views of the mountains. But if you're extra sensitive to respiratory issues and it's going to be a challenge for you being at altitude to start with and then mixing that in with some poor air quality on certain days, Denver might not be in the cards for you. All right, and now we're halfway through, guys. If I haven't scared you off yet and you're still watching this video, that's cool. I appreciate you staying. And if you're thinking of a move here, make sure you hit me up. Call, text, or email, and we'll get you set up for success on your move to Denver. As we continue, number 6, access to the mountains is not always easy. So if you haven't been to Denver before, Denver's not in the mountains, and it's kind of a long way away from all those ski resorts. You're going to be traveling an hour to 2 hours to get to the nearest ones like Loveland and Arapahoe Basin, or some of the closest on I-70 to the Denver metro area. If you live in Boulder and you want to go to Eldora, that may be a little bit closer. But if you're trying to get to Aspen or Vail or Copper Mountain or any of the other well-known ski resorts that are up here, Keystone, etc., it's going to take a while to get up there, and especially on the weekends. Like I mentioned in point number 1, where the traffic gets pretty bad, it can be a very big challenge to get up to these ski resorts. So plan accordingly. If you can leave really, really early, like before the sun comes up early. If you can, go on the weekdays where traffic and that congestion is not going to be nearly as bad, and you can actually enjoy your mountain trip. Reason number 7, winter is not for everybody. Now, we do have a lot of people that as they age, they want to live in a warmer climate and they want to get out of the snow shoveling, environment that we have here during the winter. So if traditional winters are not your thing, then you're not going to want to be in Colorado at all. Definitely recommend a place like Phoenix or somewhere in the south where you're not going to have to deal with snow. Now, if you are thinking of retiring here, you want the added benefits of a healthier lifestyle, more active lifestyle. We have communities that will shovel the snow for you in these 55 plus areas where all of that maintenance is handled by the HOA, or they hire it out to somebody. So don't let that completely discourage you from moving to Denver. But if you don't like the cold weather, Denver's probably not going to be right for you. We do have a lot of days in the winter, 40, 50 degrees, and the sun is shining, and it's going to feel like a spring day. But if snow is a no-go for you, Colorado's out. Number 8, construction. Now there is construction happening all over the city, almost year round. So if you don't want to drive through construction zones or have to deal with some of that, I don't know if you're really going to be able to avoid it any other place, but we definitely have construction all year round. It's not like we get hit with it in the summer and then it kind of dies out in the fall and winter. It really happens 365 days a year here in Colorado. We have pretty good weather most of the year, so expect these road projects to continue, and right when they finish one, just down the street, they need to widen the next street, or they need to expand this, or they're developing a new neighborhood. So be ready to live in construction zones for a long time if you're coming to the Denver metro area. Reason number 9, and this is a big one for people who do like to travel a lot. Denver International Airport is out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know why they decided to put it way out in Kansas. It doesn't make sense to me. It made it inconvenient for everybody that lives here. It made it inconvenient for everyone who travels here. The only thing I can rationalize is that the residents in the neighborhoods of Denver and Stapleton and what is now Central Park did not like the airport noise and the planes taking off and some of that, airport noise and activity right overhead, right? Planes flying over their houses all the time. So they moved the airport out to the middle of nowhere where we wouldn't have to deal with the airport noise and we wouldn't have to listen to airplanes taking off and landing hourly basis throughout the day. But as Colorado and Denver in particular continued to grow, they started building houses all the way out to the airport. So was the problem averted for maybe a decade or 2 decades at the most? Maybe, but you're going to deal with the same type of airport noise and problems. So this can be an issue if you have to travel a lot for work and you're going to be jumping on a plane and traveling to different parts of the country very often. You're definitely going to want to pick a neighborhood that has easy access out to the airport, because nothing about our airport is convenient. And number 10, and this one is specifically for Denver, if you don't like the urban vibe and that urban culture and the big city living, then Denver is definitely not going to be right for you. There are options outside of Denver, in the suburbs and some of the rural areas around, but Denver in particular definitely does not have the old small town vibe whatsoever anymore. It used to be that Denver was kind of this dusty old cow town, that was just trying to make a name for itself, and now it's pretty much a big metropolis, hustle 24/7. A lot of things happening all times of the day and night, and as a result, that has brought a lot of the problems that come with a big city, whether that's higher crime, the homeless problem we talked about. So if you're not into that urban living, definitely want to avoid Denver. It's better for us to look out into the suburban areas, maybe the rural areas. There are still plenty of options only 30 to 45 minutes away where you can live in a rural community. You can have horses, chickens, and goats, and all of the things that you might want with more of a rural lifestyle, not that far from Denver. So don't let that completely scare you away. If you're wanting that country life, you're wanting something suburban, safe, clean, and new, we have those neighborhoods here. They're just not in the heart of Denver. So I hope you guys found this list helpful. 10 reasons not to move to Denver. Like I said, if these things were a deal breaker for you, I'm glad that you found out now before you even visited Colorado. If you're still interested and you're looking at Denver as maybe one of the places on your radar to move to in the next year or so, please hit me up. We'll set up a call and we'll get you set up for success in Denver, and we'll answer any questions that you may have, go even more in depth into some of the issues that we talked about on this or any of the other videos. If you like this video, make sure you check out the 10 reasons people love Denver. I always try to do a pros and cons to each of these so you guys get the full picture on what it's like to live, work, and play in Denver.